Where's the clapper? Do I need the clapper? And do we need to put this on?
Where is the clappers over there?
Let's put that on.
Yeah, we do.
Right.
Alright. Have the clap. That clipped again.
It's gonna clip every time. I swear to God, Jesus Christ. Shut up. It's gonna clip. The point is, I'm not even gonna bother.
Alright. Don't bother them.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Alright.
Alright.
Right. Here we go.
Right.
We have the list of songs. It's all sorted. So, hello again.
Hello again.
Well, for us, it's been like
a month.
No, maybe not that long.
Okay, 2-3 weeks.
2-3 weeks.
Almost a month.
But as far as... it depends how long it takes us to edit this. I'm going to say a week. But I know that it's probably not going to happen like that.
Yeah, it'll probably be like a day or two or a week or something like in between the last video, but it's not.
Yeah, that's what we hope for. Anyway, whenever you see this, or if you have watched the other one before, hello. We're rambling now. So, hope you're doing well. We're got our cups of teas.
Yep.
And we are going to be doing
Avenged Sevenfold.
Nightmare.
Yep.
By Avenged Sevenfold, which bit of a controversial kind of metal band, I suppose. Just because a lot of people
they're famous. That's basically it.
Well, yeah, a lot of people don't consider them like proper metal. I think they are, but I think because they have a lot of singing in it rather than the whole like screaming thing, people don't like it as much. What are you doing?
It's clipping.
It's clipping. Right. He's sorting out the audio.
It's clipping.
Good like a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Nightmare, as far as I personally think, it's their best album because it's like the culmination of lots of things that they were doing in the past and the sort of direction they were going, sort of towards. And I think it's a really good mixture of the kind of things that they've done before and experimented with, and where they were kind of heading off to. And I think some of the songs on there are the strongest that they've ever done, and even the weaker songs on there are just...
There's not really a weak song.
Yeah, there's hooks everywhere.
Everywhere. In fact, like I think Nightmare would probably be the weakest one on there, and that was what they used as the single. It's still a fairly solid song, but everything else on there, I think, has just got way more... Like, everything just hooks you in so much.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's the weakest song on there. I think just because it's the most listened to song, this one you hear...
I would say that.
Well, you're a little bitch. But I guess I often find that if a band releases like a single or two before the album, I listen to the album, there'll be loads of songs on there that I obviously haven't heard before. And I'll be like, man, this is great, this is good to listen to. But I'll skip through some of the songs I have heard because I'm like, I've listened to that already.
Yeah, I think the ideal thing would be if singles just weren't a thing. And then you would just listen to the album and be like, oh, it's amazing. But obviously you have to have them because marketing. Like, because if you don't have something out there, then they're like, well, what does it sound like? Because, I don't know, it could be Avenged Sevenfold and they could decide to release an album that's just kids' nursery rhymes, like our uni lecturer did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun story.
Yeah.
You could get into a whole debate about singles and releasing stuff.
And
just as I get, obviously, there's a very obvious reason why people do it. It does make a lot of sense. But for me, like, if I know I like a band, then I don't want to hear no singles. I just want them to know that they're releasing an album, and I'll buy it. And then I want to listen to it through the whole way through without knowing anything, just being surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a really decent band, then, like Black Dahlia Murder, I'd try and... Last album they brought out, Abysmal, a couple of songs came out for it, but I avoided listening to all of the songs. I just stayed away from it. And it was fucking incredible. And no song on there kind of, I think, that's this or that.
Skip it.
Yeah, I never want to skip it. Whereas in albums before, sometimes I'm definitely more inclined to skip.
Mate, like Backcountry. Like, Backcountry is a sick song. So solid. And the solos in it are just ridiculous. Like, just quite unique. But the whole song is quite weird, I think, and it is very unique for a single. But because you hear it so much on like Kerrang and that, it's just one of their most played songs. And even when I'm playing Cities of Death, that for me is probably Cities of Evil. Even that's probably for me my favourite album they've done. But even then, I'm still like sometimes I want to skip it.
It's just a weird thing. I don't know as if we're the only people that do it. Maybe other people do it. Maybe they don't. Maybe we're just weird. Because I prefer listening to an album all the way through and letting it run. Because if it's a good album, it'll work like that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like Avenged Sevenfold, you can have a song come on at a party.
Yeah, that's a lot easier. It's not like it's a bit different. Even though Pantera's big, it's different if one of their songs come on in the party. It's not quite the same. It's still popular, but I think Avenged Sevenfold got that whole.
Well, no, I don't mean that. I mean, like, the songs can still be played just on their own, like, fine. It's not like with Between the Buried for me, for example, where you're meant to play the whole album.
Colours.
Really. Yeah, like, if you don't... everything just makes so much more sense together. But with Avenged Sevenfold, obviously, they're a band that you can play a song, it's fine on its own. But I still prefer to just listen to it all through the album because,
definitely.
Like, Nightmare is such an up and down kind of ride. Like, it works so well. There's so many different peaks and so much going on as an album.
Peaks and no troughs. Not really.
Well, yeah, there's bits where it goes a bit calmer and it's a bit like, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. Yeah, I'm gonna rustle your fingers.
But troughs would
tip you in the balls.
Yeah, but troughs would insinuate that there are shit bits. But there's not.
No, well, I wouldn't. Well, I suppose
maybe.
We're going to disagree on that.
We're rambling again because we haven't even started. Like we just
So you know what album we're doing. God, this whole single thing though, I'm interested. We should do that as a video.
Yeah, definitely. Oh mate, we should do.
But is it worth its own video?
A whole thing on marketing would be so sick.
But we don't market CDs. Like we just. It's fine.
No, on like just mark.
This is for another time. Yeah. This is for another time. Right. Okay.
Crack on.
Right. Cracking on. Yeah, so normally we'd want to show you like the CD and all that, just because we still are buying CDs.
But somebody lost it.
Right, so basically, I actually, this is quite cool, you know, as I was saying, like, Avenged Sevenfold can be a bit controversial in the whole metal scene because a lot of people think they're not hardcore enough, but our dad, he's quite an old kind of rocker, you know, he really likes Metallica.
Korn as well for some reason.
Yeah, likes Korn. You know, it's a bit weird. System of a Down. You know, AC/DC. Basically, you know, Led Zeppelin. He likes a lot of the old stuff and a few things of the newer bands. He wouldn't really like Slayer.
Not Cannibal Corpse.
No, he hates that shit. Probably a few Megadeth songs he'd get on alright with. And generally, Avenged Sevenfold he's not the biggest fan of, but he's taken the album for Nightmare. He put it in his car, and now he's put it somewhere else and we can't find it.
Yeah.
But he plays it on his own, you know, and it's a really good CD where a lot of people say, well, they're not really they're a modern band, they're not that classic metal sound, but I think Nightmare actually it's a testament to that really, because our dad doesn't generally like new shit unless it's like, System of a Down or...
I think there's a lot of albums though, not that he plays them, but there's probably quite a few. Like he'd probably get on alright with Hail to the King, he'd probably get on alright with Cities of Evil.
Cities of Evil's a bit more experimental, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose, but like I don't know.
I do love Cities of Evil though. That's a strong album. In fact, a lot of our mates from school and that, some of their first albums were, Cities of Evil. It's just a strong thing when you're growing up into.
We're definitely going to do another video on that, but I think for me, the really long songs, that's when I started listening to them and getting into them. So Between the Buried and Me, we're doing like 15-minute songs, was listening to Cities of Evil, and that was I was like, oh my god, they got a song that's 7 minutes, that's crazy.
But the thing is, I think it's easy to get into that because there's a lot more hooks that are apparent.
Yeah.
Because with Between the Buried and Me, sometimes the hooks are there, but you just have to spend a lot of time listening to it, and it's not always so obvious. With some of the songs, it just hits you in the face.
It's like that with some metal bands, though.
Pure groove, but I think when you get more hardcore, you have to spend more time listening to it.
That's one thing.
Bigger payoff, but
Avenged Sevenfold, they have a groove, like just a really, really good groove. Sinister Gates, his just playing is quite unique.
Obviously the Rev as well. I think it was quite special for me because before he died, he was like a really big inspiration to my drumming and that. So they've always been a band that I've liked, and Jimmy was so funny, man.
I must admit, like I don't really like drumming that much. I'm not into it. I don't do it myself. I don't. You put like a good drum in front of me, I'd be like, oh yeah, they're all right. I couldn't really tell you much, but it's pretty much just Jimmy Sullivan, well, like I thought he was amazing, and he was a brilliant person. Him and like again, the guy from Between the Buried and Me,
Blake Richardson. I fucking love Blake
But those two people, pretty much for me, were just like the two drummers that I'd really idolise, especially Jimmy as well, because I think he was a bit of a joker.
He also wrote a lot, like, I don't know how much of the songs he wrote, because I always say he went off into his little, like,
Pinkly Smooth.
Pinkly Smooth. Oh my god. Right, so if you like Avenged Sevenfold, check out Pinkly Smooth. If you don't like Avenged Sevenfold stuff, and you're not really interested in the, knowing about the bands and what kind of crazy projects they did, I'd probably check it out, because it's so weird. It sounds nothing like them, and it's just the oddest thing. It's like jazz, metal.
It is really,
it's avant-garde. It's the weirdest thing. Holy fuck, it's amazing. You get to see Jimmy sing a lot.
He's a good singer, man. A good singer.
I forgot about Pinkly Smooth.
It's the duck. He's not afraid.
Oh man, yeah.
Stallion duck.
So, I would say Pinkly Smooth kind of reminds me of Crotch Duster.
Crotch Duster. That's not on the list.
There's some parallels. We'll do a thing for Crotch Duster. But yeah, so that's so many. God damn it, Pinkly Smooth.
We still haven't got onto the album yet.
But I'm just thinking about Pinkly Smooth now. Oh man.
Well, we can't not.
We're going to carry on with this.
We're not going to change the review.
100%. You just need to listen to some weird shit. Maybe take some LSD or something and sit down and listen to that EP, I guess. Because
whatever.
Fuck your brain up. Okay. So getting back onto
the whole point is that I think Avenged Sevenfold. We both think that they are a solid band that get a lot of shit when they don't deserve it. I mean, they headline Download. It was Download the headline.
But I think if a band headlines Download, that doesn't make
no. But I mean,
but
the whole set they did for that was ridiculous. And we went to go see them in Birmingham when.
The Rev.
When Nightmare came out,
and they had
sets are solid. Like they're not crap live. They are good. And they are they're good musicians, good singers, good bassists, good drummers, good guitarists. They're not terrible, basically. And I think the point is people give them a lot of shit, and it's not really deserved. I think they do it because again, I
think they experiment, and they went from doing the whole like screaming thing and hardcore kind of sound to something a bit more stripped back and a bit of a I think Cities of Evil was so weird in comparison to the stuff they'd done before. I imagine it probably put a lot of people off.
Because that's the thing, I never really listened to them before then, so I know some of their stuff now, and it was heavier, but I don't really listen to it now. It's just pretty much Cities of Evil and onwards. So I could imagine for people who listened to it then, if they weren't into experimental, or if they weren't expecting it or don't like that kind of thing, then you'd be like, it's a bit odd.
And then the self-titled one, there were a few songs on there. I mean, they're all good, but there's songs on there that are a bit like, well, that's not,
Oh, what is it? That one that's got the...
they got auto-tune and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So it's not stuff that you really get with metal, and not...
But then, then they had songs like Afterlife, which is just crazy, and then Scream
as well. A little piece of heaven.
Yeah.
Which is, man. That, because I'm pretty sure in the because I had a little video of stuff of making the songs. I'm pretty sure they had members of Mr. Bungle or something like that come and do.
As if.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
The orchestra and that. I think off the top of my head, I mean, this is a couple of years ago that I watched it, so it could be from somewhere else, but that's wrong. Anyway, so carrying on. Nightmare, I mean, this one is
the title track
because, I think it really is a culmination of so many things and is a brilliant album. I mean, right from the start, this is, Jimmy passed away, so it was always going to be a big album, but it's the last one that he had big involvement in. Yeah, because he went away, apparently comes back with a load of ideas for songs and that. And, so it was quite a big one to get right, I suppose, and they had quite a lot riding on it.
I think the other thing that makes it a bit more different, because again, when he passed away, there was a lot of emotion as well going around, obviously, and I think that kind of fueled it. Like the album would have turned out quite different, I think, if Jimmy had still been alive when he was writing it. Obviously, he still had some of the material, but he was writing things like what was it? It was called Death, wasn't it? But then they changed it to whatever it was. You want to get the list up? To Fiction. Yeah, that's the one. So, it would have been completely different, but I think there was all that emotion behind it, which made it a lot, just gave it more power. just empowered him, I suppose, to write some just ridiculous songs. Like they've got a lot of soul to them, basically.
Yeah,
a lot of soul.
Plus, they have on Fiction, they have like Jimmy's vocals on there, and oh man, the first time I heard that,
mate,
my
that
heart
was
dropped.
mate, there's very few moments where we just get kind of emotional, but it usually is through music. And that was definitely one of the things that just kind of hits you right there. You're like, oh, Jimmy.
It's like when you watch a film where you see the dog die. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. And it just tears you down,
destroys you.
So yeah. Also, probably to mention, we are so bad at remembering track names.
And album names.
From as you can tell from the last video. So there is a lot of looking around and bit like we know what we're talking about.
We don't have the album in front of us, so we have to keep going back to our computer.
Yeah, which is just here. Which has got all the recording stuff on it, so we're going to have to be tweaking that if we're too loud and whatnot. Anyway, so Nightmare is the title of it. It starts with the kind of this little chimey thing going on, I suppose. Yeah. Which is a nice little build-up. It doesn't sound anything like that. It sounds like... Oh, God. But yeah, and then the drums come in and... Solid track, really. I mean, I don't know what to say about it, because it's one of them tracks that you've heard.
I think it is it's pretty standard for a metal track, I think, the way that it's made, but it is really good. Like, the vocals are they're solid throughout the whole album, so I can't really say much about it, but, it is a pretty good track. Definitely, I think on the album, probably my least favourite, but again, that's going back to the whole, it was a single, so you hear it all the time. And also, I think it was a bit more standard. I think there's more hooks in some of the other songs, but as an intro, it does hit you quite hard, and it's got a sick intro. It just builds up. It doesn't hit you straight away. It's got the guitars coming in, the chimes, and
yeah. I mean, I think as far as the album goes, it kind of works as the standard sound. If that makes sense, because there's a lot of different songs on there, but obviously the album has got a core sound, and I'd say this is a song that kind of represents the core sound very well, because there are bits where it slows it down.
I think it does tell you how good direction that the album's going to take, because it's got some soft spots and some punch you in the face spots. Definitely. But yeah, no, it sets the tone for the album really well. And the video is really cool as well. That's really emotional. It's just the drum kit at the end. Emotional shit.
Yeah, it's got a good solid riff. Carries on throughout most of the song. I guess it's just quite I don't really know how else to describe it. I think it's a song that I probably have the least kind of I suppose connection to. I don't know, not just because of being a single, but. No matter, we're not making it sound that great, but it is a good starter song, and it fits then into the next song very nicely.
People are going to think we hate singles like just
so
religiously.
So hipster. You know what I also hate? Hollywood films with too much CGI. Man, it winds me the fuck up.
You know what I want? Mate, just fuck all of that. I want Ergot AP. That's it. AP Ergot.
What? Oh, mate, it's so hipster.
Yeah, mate.
Fucking hell.
Top lane.
Yeah, we're going to sound like right pricks. Just saying, I hate anything mainstream. I'm going to get a top band.
Well, you do dress like a farmer. You've got like the cap and the...
Yeah, I have oh god. Yeah, I have
also,
five
if you
caps.
just got a few tattoos, it just, I don't know, the Conor McGregor look, and then people would just be... Yeah, you could be
hipster Conor McGregor. That's also English. I'd like that. I need to shit.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh no, I'm not going to do that.
Right, okay, we're still on Nightmare. Let's go on to the next one, because it's
Well, look, it fits into the Welcome to the Family very nicely. The end of it kind of trails off, and then the drum beat comes in for Welcome to the Family. Oh, we saw him. Was it right? I'm pretty sure when they did it live, Mike Portnoy was playing like a drum solo. It was fucking sick, and then he went into Welcome to the Family. Oh. It was epic,
Yeah. But
the drum thing coming in first, and then again, I find this kind of similar to Nightmare in terms of song, because it's just got a solid riff going the whole way through. It's not like too soft. It's
not too out there. It follows the same sort of.
It's not as heavy. These songs aren't as heavy as God Hates Us, which is the heaviest song on the album.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's like a lot of softer songs on this One where it's kind of like, I think they're pouring out emotion, this one's kind of like in the middle. They both are.
Yeah,
they're just kind of like, I find them like kind of almost like alternatives because they've got like a lot of driving force in them. They really kick off the album very nicely because it doesn't let up after the first song. Yeah, these first two songs really kind of have a lot of power to them.
Even though we're saying that these songs are fairly standard, and they're standard, but they kick off the album really well. It doesn't make any sense.
They're awesome, but they're not.
I think the thing to remember about this album, and there's some albums out there that are good that you like listen to, and I think there's some albums that you can just sit there and just basically sing the whole way through, just fucking just sit there.
This is one of them.
Just definitely, like every time we play this, we play one song and we're like, actually no, go from the start, and then just put it up as loud as you can, just sing along with it, or just. I think it wouldn't be like that for everyone, but definitely for us, this album gets us to do that. I think there's only a couple of others, like maybe Tenacious D's first album. That's a good one for that as well. So yeah, even though we say they're standard, you just want to just.
It's a high standard. Yeah. It's a high standard. I think I know what we said about singles. I'm not going to mention too much about that, but this is an album where there's only like 2 songs on it that I could say probably wouldn't be a single. The rest of them could be.
Probably Fiction.
Because, Fiction and the last song, only because the last song is fucking long.
10 minutes long.
Yeah. But, even in their own right, they could be. But pretty much every other song on there, 100% could be, a single in its own right.
That basically just means that it's not filler. Yeah. There's no filler material on it.
No filler, all killer, mate. But these, the first 2 songs I find fairly standard as the sound. They set the pace really well. Really strong, keep up the speed and everything. And then the third song, I guess, it starts off not quite as quickly. It starts off with almost like a marching drum beat. It's actually about fighting and everything, so it actually kind of works quite well for that.
Yeah.
I think when I first heard the album, this song, so I'm going to check that the recording's still fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
So when it first came on, I was a bit like, okay, these first 2 songs, they really, the intros to both of them really work very well. Nightmare kind of eases you in at first. Welcome to the Family just fucking punches you on the balls. And then this one, it sounded a bit weird. I was a bit like, I don't really like the intro to this. And it's a bit more, I wouldn't say thrashy, but it sounds a lot more like they've gone back to Cities of Evil with the going on the ride. And that's the only way I can really describe it, to be honest. A bit more that kind of punky, thrashy sound that's a bit cleaner, though. Not really the kind of like... a bit
more experimental as well. Yeah. It's not... Yeah,
but not the straight up kind of like chugging metal that the first 2 songs do. So I was a bit unsure about it because I didn't think it worked quite so well. But the chorus and the end bit, especially the end, is really, really strong, and it finishes up that really nicely, and then works into the next song very well. So the more I listen to it, the more I actually like it, and the drum thing actually did sound like it kind of works, It sounds a bit like, again, some of the songs that start off on Cities of Evil, because there's a few tracks that start off with a similar kind of...
Sidewinder, I'd say.
Yeah, very similar to like Sidewinder.
Sidewinder?
Sidewinder. Oh, Sidewinder.
Widen my side, please.
Why is that funny? That's not funny. That's just not funny. Oh god.
I bet we're gonna be like, there's only gonna be like 2 views on this. It's gonna be you and me just watching the videos constantly.
We find ourselves hilarious, but no one else will. Oh god, this is fucking shocking. Sidewinder. Right, okay, well, I got it. Sidewinder. Anyway, so this song took a little bit more to get into than sort of straight off the bat. But when you hear the end, like the payoff was worth it straight away. And then the more I listen to it, the more I'm a bit like, this works, this is good. It does actually remind me quite a lot of what they were doing in Cities of Evil. And I mean, the first 2 songs, I say, sound more like what they were doing in the self-titled.
Yeah.
And then 1 or 2 other songs, they do sound like taking it from even older back then, So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of mix of where they get their sort of sounds from previous albums from. And then, that fits in so well into Buried Alive.
That was the other single as well.
Yeah,
off the,
such a nice,
it's
finish.
really chill. It was quite nice because they brought out Nightmare, which was just, fairly heavy, in your face very much. And then they brought out Buried Alive, and it just shows you the other end of it. This starts out really chilled, like the guitars that they've got going on in it, the melodies, the harmonies, and the singing are ridiculous, but still has some heavy bits, especially towards the end. It starts off light, the chorus is a little bit heavy, goes back into it being a bit light, the solos are mental, and just the end, it's so sick.
We should have a tea break at some point.
Tea break? Yeah, we're all out of tea.
But yeah, it sounds like something that Jimmy's definitely done, because it's so weird, as a track to start off with. It's just, it's not like a typical kind of...
It was a tea leaf. Oh. It was pretty grim.
Mate, did you just drink a tea
In
leaf?
fact, no, I think it was lime scale. That's even worse.
What do you mean you think it was lime scale?
No, it was like something at the bottom of my cup and it was horrible.
What do you mean you have lime scale? That's fucking nasty.
From the kettle.
Mate, that makes us sound like we just fucking drink dirty water and fucking get shit in our tea.
Oh no, I got lime scale in my cup again. I told them they should replace the kettle, god damn it.
Oh man, fucking British problems. Lime scale in my tea.
Mate, there's people in the world that have got to deal with parasites in their drinking water, and I'm here fucking. There's a little bit of hard stuff at the bottom of my tea. That doesn't taste very nice.
You love the hard stuff, don't you, James?
Fuck you. Side widener.
Shut up. All right. Oh god, where were we?
Buried Alive.
Buried Alive. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird track. Yeah, the way it works, and then it comes into this chill drum beat, and the way the singing comes, it's just not a typical rock song or a ballady kind of song.
Yeah, because
it's a really chilled out, just kind of a chilling song.
Most of the songs that they do, there's Dear God, which is pretty much throughout the whole thing, just and you got the solo at the end, which is really nice. Buried Alive, it's just some of the other... There was that old sort of westerny one they did on the self-titled, Gunslinger. That started off really chilled, and then it got quite heavy.
Yeah, it does. It ends...
So Far Away as well, that...
Yeah, So Far Away.
So, they're not... They do a couple of songs that are, light, but a lot of the ones they do, they do actually have a heavy element, because, I suppose, at the basis of it, they are a metal band, and they like to keep it that way.
Yeah, well, that is true. It does end off almost going back to the first few songs, the way he's chugging a bit. It sounds like a typical. It
is it's just got a solid riff that just keeps going.
Again, it's something you can sing along to.
Yeah, but I think they've got a lot of. There's less singing. There's more solos, and the solos are.
I'm pretty sure that Jimmy wrote the lyrics as well for the first bit, because it sounds so it doesn't make any sense really. It just doesn't make any sense, but it's the kind of lyrics that they had in Pinkly Smooth, almost. That's what I was trying to say before, but I just couldn't get the words out. It sounds like something Pinkly Smooth would have done, just a lot more high quality as less
weird.
At the start of the song, maybe not the end. It gets a bit more normalish, I guess, as it progresses. But yeah, that's why. Fuck. I keep losing my train of thought. My brain's not so good. Shut up. Fuck
you. Think with your nose.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
We all know people are just going to watch this because of me, not you. So fuck you.
Alright, okay. I just don't like being mocked. By myself. Oh man, I'm rambling now. Anyway, next song.
But
there's only one note.
Next song.
But guess who did write it? Me.
Well, do the next song, and then maybe we'll go for a tea break.
There's going to be a lot of references to albums. So if you've not heard these albums,
well, we've already done what we've got. That was Tenacious D. I've already done Gua.
We quite the shit out of stuff like that. So we'll know what we're on about, and we'll find it funny. But other people will be
that's probably why we'll laugh at the video more than anyone else.
Oh, I know. Oh God, why are we doing this? People are going to
We're doing it to inflate our egos. That's why we're doing it.
That's not a bad idea.
I want to go into the industry of doing whatever job, and I want to go in there with a fucking massive head.
Okay. Natural Born Killer. So this is, I guess a bit heavier.
Yeah, a bit heavier.
You know what? I can't remember how it goes.
I can't.
Fucking hell. Right, we're going to have a tea break. And we're going to listen to this song. Yeah. No, we already listened to the album before. But you know what? That song's gone off my head. And I could talk about all the other songs on there. But why the fuck has that gone out of my head? Oh, God, this is shocking. Right, we're going to be back with tea and not acting like
twats.
Complete fucking bellends.
Can't even do our own video.
Yeah.
Here's to not having lime scale in our tea.
No more lime scale.
Mate,
Barry Scott, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, get Barry Scott in here, get rid of like
bang.
lime scale, germs and...
Hi, I'm Barry Scott.
He doesn't sound like that.
He doesn't sound anything like that.
Lime and grime, go away.
Yeah, sod off.
Give me a clean kettle so I can have proper tea. Right, Nightmare. So, can you get the list up again? Wasn't it Natural Born Killer?
Yes,
Yes.
we were just discussing this. So,
We listened to the song, and it is in fact heavy.
yeah, okay. It was funny because we went downstairs, made a cup of tea, and just as I was coming up, I actually remembered how the song went. And I was like, what? Or at least I was like, I had a song in my head. I didn't notice if it was that one actually. And I started playing. I was like, okay, this is one of the songs in the album. And then we played. I was like, oh, okay, it is that song. Well, great. See, I remember things so lately, but whatever.
So lately. Oh man.
You know, just like
I could just imagine like
I don't know. It just takes a long time for my brain to
this
start.
kid is like late for class. He like goes into the classroom late, and the teacher looks at him. Why are you so lately?
Shut up. Leave
Don't
me
be
alone.
lately again.
Leave me alone. My brain doesn't work quickly, okay?
I've got detention for being lately. Fucking idiot.
Ah, man. Right. So, starts off heavy. This one is not... It's not necessarily quicker than the first two tracks. I'm going to keep going back to the first two tracks as like a good reference point, because that's always a good standard.
Good standard.
Good standard, as we said before. What are you doing? What you saying with the camera?
Good standard. Yeah, so that's like our standard. So this is the standard.
I don't understand why that's funny. It's just weird.
I don't know. Anyway, no, it's a good song, but it's not as faster. I think the riff is definitely like it's more in your face.
It's
Oh, the tea burns.
I want to say it's more unrelenting, but that doesn't make sense grammatically. I'm pretty sure. So I'm trying to think of another way to say it. But basically,
It doesn't give up.
it doesn't give up. For the most part, until the chorus. The chorus is nice and you can sing along, and it opens up, the chorus opens up the song.
It's actually,
and it makes you want to just like, join in with a big crowd of people and just like...
I think it's more of a sing-along. It has more sing-along bits in than the first two tracks.
Good metal song because it's about getting fucking killed, mate. Yeah. But yeah, they even have sort of blast beats at the start, really. So the intro's a lot quicker. You know, it picks back up the pace after, you know, a couple of songs are just sort of taking it a slightly different direction and being a little bit more chilled, really. So it takes it back into another, you know, lift up again of pace and everything. But it's still very much sing-alongable.
Sing-along. Sing-along. It's like that fucking song, Alcohol Holocaust or Alcoholic...
Holocaust.
Yeah, that was it.
Alcohol Holocaust. What is that?
Fucking...
Behold the Octopus
Yeah.
Alcohol Holocaust. I'm pretty sure that's by them anyway.
Yeah.
Their bassist is in Gorguts now.
Random bit of non-Avenged Sevenfold fact for you.
Yeah.
As per usual.
Exactly.
You're just going to have to watch every single video so you can just, like, get all the facts.
So again, Natural Born Killer is one of them, you know, typical songs off the album, I suppose, in terms of the general sound of it. I mean, it's great because the chorus, the catch is very different. You know, it picks up the pace. So it's different to, you know, the other songs on there that we're comparing it to. But man, it's just so easy to get a group of people to sing along to and everyone to get into it.
It's good because you can do it for the whole album, but there are some songs on here. Natural Born Killer and the one after this, So Far Away, I think some of the strongest sing-along ones on here. But yeah, Natural Born Killer, it's got that chorus. And then it's one of those things where if you're at like a metal or a rock club and this came on, it'd be heavy enough for people to just like headbang to. But then it's one of those things, the chorus is just so catchy. Kind of like, I suppose, it doesn't sound like a...
Next time we go Bunker 13, we should.
Yeah, definitely. What I was going to say, it doesn't sound like a System of a Down song, but you know how they're like quite heavy, and then the chorus.
Yeah, well, so you know,
is...
like, I don't know if it sounds or whatever. It's like,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They're funky.
Like basically
that.
Like Hypnotise.
Yeah.
Like most of the songs off Hypnotise.
Obviously, very different sounding. Can't compare it to System of a Down
because they're very unique.
But there's some bits in there where you can kind of.
To be fair, though, I think Avenged Sevenfold, certainly the newest stuff they come out with, it's one of those things. It's obviously metal, the same as System of a Down is, but you can't really class anything like. There's not really anyone I think that sounds quite like Avenged Sevenfold. There's definitely not really anyone that I know of that sounds like System of a Down. It's like those two bands are just they've got their own sound completely, and just no one can really copy it. No one can do
not as well. There's definitely bands I've seen, live and all that in like shitty clubs or whatever that
have done a pretty good job. But
I was going to say done a terrible job.
All right.
Right, okay then, because I mean you see people. They've got a good sound, I've even seen people trying to pull off the whole like
Sinister Gates.
Yeah, Sinister Gates look, and you're just like. I don't think you understand that this guy is fucking sick. If you try and look like him, you're going to get compared to him and you're going to fucking fail.
By like a lot.
Yeah, he's such a good guitarist. And, I mean, having the singing vocals, a lot of them try and do the whole, like, almost like nasally kind of vocals, I guess. I hit the microphone then. Thinking they can sing along to metal just because, Matt Shadows does it. But... his voice, he's got such a really powerful voice, and you see a lot of people that obviously have done singing, but only in bands and never really either got lessons or just never really got past.
We're basically like parring off bands that play in pubs, but
no, ones that just try and copy the sound like Avenged Sevenfold. And a lot of
but
them
without trying that hard.
Because they've got they do have a bit of that classic-y metal kind of vibe in some of their newest stuff.
But their own way of doing it.
Yeah, and. Oh, it just winds me up because you look at me and think you're just obviously trying to rip off these guys. And...
I think it is good. It's hard for a band not to copy someone else's style in a little way because you get inspiration. Like there's a fine line between copying something and being inspired by them to do something. That kind of sound. You're like, I want to do something kind of like that, but my own thing, and then copying someone. But there are people that do try and copy the look because he is such a badass. Why would you not want to copy it? But then you can't pull it off unless you are sick. Like, so good. I think maybe there's one or two people we know that probably could if they wanted to. I think maybe Ad could probably get away with something like that.
Yeah, but I think you have to try and pull off something that sounds like Avenged Sevenfold that's not shit. You do have to be really good musicians because otherwise it just sounds
cheesy, won't it?
Yeah, it just sounds cheesy. Whereas if you're I don't know, for example, in a death metal band. You could probably get away with, if you wanted to do extreme death metal, you could get away with, not being the best. If you were doing something that just sounded really heavy, just for the sake of being heavy and not be that great at it. Or if you were doing like that kind of country rocker, what are they called? Zakk Wylde's kind of band,
Black Label Society.
Yeah. I mean, people could... Yeah, obviously, he's a fucking sick guitarist. But you could do like a cheesier or simpler version of that and it still sound good. But I think if you tried to simplify Avenged Sevenfold's sort of sound and get away with doing that, you're going to have a bad time.
Why did you use... Oh my god. But yeah, no, because I think it would be quite easy to make it sound cheesy. These guys don't. They do add so some of the solos do have like a little bit of darkness to them, right?
Because there is a lot going on, really. Yeah. In this album, all the songs, they do have a lot going on. So I suppose they can sound like a straight up kind of like rock song that you can kind of just party to.
I think
Fair
the
enough,
thing
but
is as well, since the other thing with this, with Matt Shadow singing, because he does sound quite nasally, but that's more on the last, like the first few albums that they did, and Cities of Evil, even Cities of Evil, like his singer's pretty good.
His voice has just grown and
yeah,
more
exactly.
powerful and...
But on this, like I'm pointing with my mug, but on this, his singing's definitely, it's less nasally, it's more, I suppose, would refined be the right word?
I guess so. I guess so. I mean, he's gotten better since, and them as backing vocals as well have gotten better.
There's still the backing vocals
Evil.
on Cities of Evil are good, but you hear them live and you're like,
they sound better now. I think though, I mean, if they had Jimmy on the album, the drums would have obviously also been sick. You know,
there would have been
complex.
like that whole, Jimmy singing.
They've got just clipping them. They've got Mike Portnoy. So having him on the album, there's some bits in there. I mean, he's stuck, I think, fairly closely to how the album was meant to sound, but he does a phenomenal job.
Definitely.
I mean, he's like, his timing is obviously absolutely on point, you know, and some of the cymbal work he's thrown in and the tom stuff, it just sounds absolutely incredible. Like when he steps it back, he doesn't put too much emphasis on it, and he really keeps it simple, and he knows how to do it well.
To be fair, that's one thing actually. I'm pretty good at picking drummers. I mean, for this, I think it was always going to be Portnoy if he was up for it, because Jimmy even said like that's the only guy I would want to like play my kit. And he does stick to like, and I think the way that he plays as well works really well on this. Whereas you got the other drummer that they had on Hail to the King, that was a lot more simpler, I think, but.
They wanted him to.
The style worked really well.
Aaron, you know, he's a sick drummer. So, I mean, if he wanted to do, you know...
Well, he could play the stuff because they play it live.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, my Portnoy, there's so many things that he throws in there. Yeah, little accents and little things that he just plays around with. And, yeah, it just sounds great. It just adds a bit more complexity to the songs that you kind of notice the more, like, you kind of listen to it, really. It makes it far more.
Right, where did we get to? Are we still on So Far Away, or have we got further? Which bit did we get to? Because I don't know. We lost track.
No, Natural Born Killer, I think we just stayed on. Have we been talking about this the whole time?
11 minutes on one track.
Oh man, we're so bad at this,
mate. There's so many tangents.
So many tangents. It's like Inception, but it's incredibly stupid. Shitception. Oh,
right. So Natural Born Killer. We were sort of getting on to the So Far Away, but then we went back to Natural Born Killer. So we like
some other random shit
went to that track and then skipped back and then.
Right. So Far Away. It's good.
Yeah, I think that's one of the. It is so chilled out. I think for me that's probably one of the better songs on the album.
Yeah, the soft songs really do stand out actually, like very well.
I think all the soft songs on here, like Buried Alive, So Far Away.
You can just sit back and be like, man,
so chilled.
That's some deep shit.
Dank
deepness. It just sounds wrong.
Yeah. But no, definitely. It's, again, this whole album is really good for just
it makes you want to sort of stand on top of a hill. Like a big hill or a mountain.
I can just imagine this guy on the pleb level dwelling. And the women are doing the laundry or the beating. They're doing something fun instead.
Oh, we need to stop quoting shit. Yeah. Alright, so you should watch Dave Brock Experience live at the Pound. You might not be a Guar fan or a DBX fan, but that is the funniest shit you will watch. And it's just a great punk like DVD. Tangents. I'm just saying, we've mentioned it. It's in there. You know, that you'll get that joke if you watch it, but you should watch it anyway. Anyway.
So Far Away.
So damn
anyway, yeah, so it's...
But yeah, you want to just sort of sit on top going, so far away. It doesn't go like that. But you want to sort of, sing the top of your lungs out.
Why do we have to put the loudest guy next to the microphone?
I don't know. Because it needs more power and energy. Oh, fuck it, it keeps clipping.
We keep turning it down, it keeps clipping. I think, because when we start talking, we just progressively get louder, and we've always been like that.
Especially when, like, we drink. Like, the voice is so, like, monotonous, and it travels.
Yeah, because it's quite bassy, so, like, you'll hear it through walls.
Well, James isn't. His balls ain't dropped yet.
Fuck you. At least I've got balls.
I shaved mine off in a terrible
Terrible shaving accident.
I just wanted less hair on my nuts.
You wanted to look like one of them porn stars, clean shaven balls.
And it just slipped too far, man.
What were you
Lost
using?
them both.
Mate, you should have used wax. Should have waxed them.
Should have waxed my nuts. How did we get onto this? We're getting
Dan.
so deep.
We're stuck on this
So
song.
far away. Right.
It's-
God damn it. It's just
Let
the middle.
me speak. What was that? So, the whole album is really good just for singing along, as we've said. But
This
again,
stands
the
out.
chill, yeah.
Emotional
it's
song. Deep.
Very emotional.
Intellectual.
The thing as well.
Sad. These are words that explain the song.
They don't explain the song, they describe the song. Right. But I think as well, things like this, you know, if you have been following Avenged Sevenfold before Jimmy died, I mean, you might even get it afterwards, if you like listen to other stuff and then go back and then watch all the videos on YouTube. We never actually saw Jimmy live or anything like that, but because we liked the music so much and we were watching all the videos on YouTube, Dan, put your shit down. So we, follow him, and you get kind of, I suppose, attached to him. And then when he died, I think it gave this album more of an impact because it was written for him, about a lot of stuff written about him, and I think this track in particular as well stands out just because of it, because there are a few tracks on here written specifically for him. Some of them Jimmy wrote himself, like Fiction. And then he just changed it a little bit, but there's definitely, you get the whole way through this album, you do get the feeling, the presence of Jimmy, even though he's not on it really, not that much. The song that he's not on, you still get the presence that he's kind of there. Bit weird, but yeah.
I think part of it also helps because Mike Portnoy's drumming shows a lot of similarity with, Jimmy, because Jimmy, his biggest inspiration was Mark Portnoy. So obviously he wrote a lot of the drums and Mike followed a lot of them, but it sounds so similar because somebody's doing a style that kind of works fairly well for them. But it's nice that they do have a song on there that they just wrote because obviously they miss their best friend, know. And it's an incredibly powerful track, and it makes you feel so sad.
I don't know if it's this or Save Me or one of the other ones, it's right at the end of one of the tracks. It's like. Oh, fuck, it was in my head just a second ago and it's gone. It was something about some people can't be bothered to stay around another day. Some just can't be bothered to stick around. And I think that line right at the end of the song.
Victim.
It might be Victim, yeah. And, there's lines like that just really get... Because you know that they were writing about him. Writing about Jimmy. And not that he couldn't be bothered to stick around, fucking OD'd by accident. But, it just kind of hits you, really. Kind of sucks. Big time.
Sucks so big.
Yeah, mate, sucks so much. Sucks almost as much as Dan sucking dick. But, it just... Yeah, there's quite a few lines in some of the softer songs that do just hit you really hard, especially, and that's,
when you know the meaning behind it, it's not just like a
if you just pick this album up and you're like, oh, Avenged Sevenfold, listen to them, you probably still get some of the feeling, but nowhere near as much as if you followed the band and knew kind of what they've gone through, and if you actually followed Jimmy and actually, if you thought a lot of him as a drummer or even as a person, it probably can't hit you quite hard. I don't like the sentimental shit. Right, next song. God hates us.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Fair play. So this one, I'd say, it is the heaviest one. That I think. Right. So they've obviously stayed away from screaming for so long. They wanted to do something that was driven by melody, avoid the screaming. But I feel like that they got so much shit for that. Like, people saying, "Oh, bring back the screaming. We'll miss the screaming," and they were just like, "Well, we don't really want to do that because."
I think it works really well in this album, though.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. I mean, that's fair enough. I think it's good that they stuck to their guns and said, "We don't want to do something that everyone else is doing now. We want to do something different." Okay, I get it. Our fans don't really like that. They like the heavier stuff, but we want to, be more melodic, be more creative maybe with it and the vocals. And
there is some screaming
Fair play,
on Cities of Evil. There's some screaming on self-titled, but it's all very few and
it's
far
almost more
between.
like effect, really.
Yeah, it is used for effect.
Yeah,
It's not like a main tool.
No, definitely not.
On this, there are bits that are used for effect, but there is a lot more on it as well. And again, it has a more of a hardcore feel about it. It has I suppose it feels like a lot more. See, lime scale. I told you.
The fuck? Oh,
Yeah, dirty
it?
shit.
I don't know what it is. Are you sure that's lime scale?
Mate, it's somewhere from the bottom of the kettle. I don't know what's. It's fucking. I hope it's lime scale because God knows what else could be in there. Anyway,
It's going on the floor.
this is my room, damn it! Can you not put lime scale on your own floor?
I'm not gonna go into my room and put your shit on my floor.
That time where I had this jar of pennies that I've been saving up because if you have a few pennies and you save them up, put them in your bank, you might have a tenner
Save
or
a
something.
penny, save a pound.
Yeah.
Is that the same?
In for a penny, in for a pound.
Wow,
no,
close
that's
enough.
something different. Anyway, so I did that. Had this little jar, and my mates were like, "Oh,
Save
so
a penny, save a pound. I just made that up. That's not a thing.
Yeah, because
If you look after the pennies, the pounds will look after themselves.
Yeah,
That's it.
Oh, I've
There
got
we
this
go.
penny. Let's watch it grow into a beautiful pound. So
Stick it in the ground, which gets
Yeah.
stolen by squirrels.
fucking squirrels stealing my pounds.
Squirrels need money,
But anyway, yeah. So I had this pot, and Dan was in the room next to me at uni, and they had some of his mates round, and they were like, "Oh yeah, so you got this jar of
Was it
pennies?"
at
I was like, "Oh yeah, it was at uni." And I'm like, "Oh, I got this bigger jar of pennies. Got my jar from my room."
I thought it was in there.
No, it was in the uni.
Fuck, I don't remember
And
shit.
yeah, grabbed the jar, ran to the next room, all excited. Like, look at my jar of pennies. Dropped the whole thing on
Look at
his
my
floor.
jar of pennies.
And then
What
there
a
was
fucking
glass and pennies everywhere on his floor.
Oh mate, that
It wasn't
was
in my
so
room, it was in
annoying.
Dan's
I
room.
could tread. You can tread on glass and it'll hurt, but it's on my floor, not his floor. So I've got to pick. He's got to pick up the pennies, and then I've got to sort out the glass. But do you understand how difficult it is to try and? Because you can't just sweep up the glass, because you'll sweep up the pennies. Like that. It's God.
It was good.
God damn it.
I'm glad it was your room, not mine.
Fucking dick. Anyway,
It was a good jar
what the
as well.
fuck? All right. Story over.
God hates us.
Yeah. So
Where-
heavy. So yeah, I think in this, because they got a lot of people saying, "Oh, bring back the screaming." So maybe they were a bit like, you know what? Let's have a song fucking scream. Internet. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it works because a lot of the songs in here are quite heavy, quite rocky. So
It has a lot. The tone is a lot more
Excuse
evil.
me.
I think the screaming works in this as opposed to the other stuff because they'd make it work in the other stuff because they're that good. But they put it more in this. I think that's a lot of the sadness and the anger coming out of them from obviously Jimmy passing, and it gives it a lot more darker tone, which I think is the whole idea with this. Definitely one of the darkest albums that they've done in a
but it's
long
still got
time.
a lot of groove in
A
it.
lot of groove, but a lot more darkness as well, and a lot of that probably did come
A lot
from
more darkness is a bit of open term, really. I think
darkness, like lots of shadows and evil.
Naturally. But yeah, I think they still make it very melodic and everything, and it doesn't make it all sound like just a bunch of noise, really. Because it's still understandable what he's saying, and they still have other bits in it that are
And
sort
still
of more
melodic.
like
Yep,
singing.
yep, singing. There's lots of singing.
Yeah, I think it's when that song came on live, it was
It was good.
yeah. I think that's one of the songs that you kind of remember getting more pumped up about. I think because it's got a lot of energy to it, and you can just I think it's one of those things you can kind
It
of
is very
headbang the
fast
whole
as well,
way
it's
through,
fast, yeah.
even when it kind of sort of gets a little bit it takes a slight step back at points for the main verses and everything, but you can still headbang to it like it. I mean, it's not like it doesn't really slow down properly. It doesn't take away the energy. It just opens it up a bit more for like slower headbanging, which is great. So this song is just full of different speeds that you can headbang to, and it's nice because the other parts of the songs, there could be either lots of headbanging and then you feel like you want to sing, or you just want to sing the whole way through. But this one makes you just want to bang your head off.
We've only got through 3 songs and it's been like 20 minutes.
Oh god, we're so bad at explaining this. Did that make any sense to you? What I was just saying then?
It sort of did. It would have done if I was listening.
Okay, well, it might not have done though.
It's
we keep
something about different speeds, headbanging to speed.
I mean, the way the song, the headbanging to speed, can do loads of speed, and then like see how fast you can headbang. Okay,
Anyway.
but it's just a good staple for that. It's the heaviest song on the album. It's a good driving song. It kind of...
Yeah, if you've got... This is what we're on about. So you've got like Nightmare and Welcome to Family here. You've got like the slower songs. And then you've got God Hates Us, the other end of the spectrum. Spectrum.
Right. Where are you going with that?
No, there's got the heavy bit and you got the light bit and the middle bit.
You got like heavy light or light plus
Light heavy. Or it's like heavy.
medium heavy. Or,
Medium heavy.
I don't know.
These are not terms to describe.
Lower cholesterol heavy.
Fucking diabetes heavy.
Diabetes.
That's not good. Oh, I'm gonna burn.
Okay,
Right, victim.
Victim.
Your
face will be a victim on that. Fist.
mate, my face is literally a victim of like looking at your face. It fucking horrifies me.
But I look like you.
Yeah, but I'm like the better one. Mate,
Right.
I've got the features on my face don't make me cringe, but the features on your face are just that little bit worse that I just feel sick on the inside.
Wow.
Like there was that time you looked like, I don't know. We weren't in a mirror or anything, but he walked past me and he thought he was looking in a mirror. For some
Okay,
reason.
that did happen. Right. Honest mistake. Whatever. Look.
Victim.
Oh, man,
We're going off topic.
Yeah, I don't think it helps because I'm quite tired at the moment. Like it's quite kind of late-ish, I suppose. We're going to do this during the day, but we're trying to sort of like shit out with our computers and that. And we just and then I had to do tea.
As in like eat, not
tea, like dinner. You know,
dinner
make
tea.
dinner.
Food tea.
Yeah.
And then you
Food tea as opposed to liquid tea.
tea.
Liquid tea. Anyway, oh god, right.
Victim.
Focus. So victim.
It's about a victim.
I think this is probably one of my favourite songs off the album. I'm pretty sure Sinister Gates sings that intro bit. It's got
That's
nice.
it, yeah, it's the one with the weird singing that's almost like a girl, but it's not. So
It
yeah,
doesn't sound anything like that either.
yeah, I'm not even going to attempt it. But yeah, no, it's got some weird singing at the start. It's not a girl.
I suppose
Kinda
this is
sounds
like
like
one of the
God.
weird songs on the album.
But
I
it's
guess,
it's one of the softer ones though, and again, it is nice. Like it's just one of those ones that you could just sing to. You could just
and the
have.
solo in it's badass.
They're all badass.
They are there. All the solos are incredible. I think this one stands out for me, but yeah, no, every solo on there is pretty dank.
Dang, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of it's a bit like So Far Away, I suppose, in the way that it kind of tones it down. But I don't know, it's kind of interesting because they have a slow song and then they speed it back up again with the heavy song on the album, and then they go back down again to this like really chilled out song.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a weird dynamic that they put in there, but it is quite nice.
And the
to
feels as well. Like
Oh.
the lyrical content for the lighter songs just gets you.
You're right.
Victim, Tonight the World Dies, Fiction, Save Me. Like the last end of the out, I think, even though it's all solid, I think the last, the second half of the album has just got so many feels.
Yeah, I would
A
agree
lot
with
of
that.
feels.
I would agree with that. I mean,
It's just more emotional, I think. It's
Yeah.
got more emotional songs on it anyway.
yeah, I think it starts off with a bit more like kind of, you know, typical Avenged Sevenfold stuff. Then they go into stuff that's a bit. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know when they wrote all the lyrics for it, but you know, what time sort of Jimmy's passing and all that, really. But no, it's a strong song. Probably my favourite off the album, and it's probably I'd say the softest Victim is as well.
Yeah, probably say that.
Man, you can tell we're getting like really knackered.
Yeah,
all this
man.
bantering for. How long have we must been doing this for?
Well, this is 28 minutes. The other one was like 20-something minutes.
Oh man, it's
Probably
tiring me
10
out.
minutes.
Yeah, I'm getting all sweaty and shit. Anyway, moving along.
To Tonight the World Dies. This, again, is just so emotional. And it's just... The whole album you could sing along to, but definitely the last few songs on here are just... You proper go for it. Just in the car or just chilling, wherever, in your room.
Banging your girlfriend.
You don't have a girlfriend.
Don't have a girlfriend, no.
But yeah, no, if you had one, you could do that.
Yeah, if you weren't lame and undesirable like
Dan.
myself. Yeah, exactly.
Or if you just, get pissed off by girls and you wouldn't have one.
God, they wind me up so much. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone, but I'm easily wound up by things and people. And
Anything that's complicated.
I can't figure out how to do my shoelace.
Fucking hate my shoes. I'm gonna wear barefooted.
Sorry, I'm changing how I'm sitting on the.
So yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
All right, camera stop recording as per usual. It keeps going off after.
Because it's not
minutes.
a proper recording camera. It's meant for taking photos, but
it's meant for because it's an SLR. So basically, you record short bits with it. You're not meant to do like 30 minutes worth of recording.
See, the thing is, like, we went into this originally thinking, we'll just do like 20, 30-minute videos, something like that. Not even that. We'll just go do a quick rundown of things and do a little bit of shit in between. And then actually, it turns out we only do about 10 minutes of talking. It's more rambling, and we just take off all these different tangents of where we're going.
Tangents,
mate. Just like But whatever, it works for us. It works for us, or we think it works for us.
We'll find out when we actually put this on YouTube. Anyway, so next song, "Tonight the World Dies." It carries on with the sort of later half of the album being a bit more
slower,
almost a little bit weirder. Because like I say, that the last song. So like a little bit of the weird singing in there.
The thing is as well, a couple of these songs do remind me a little bit of Gunslinger from the self-titled. Just in fact that they might have heavier bits in them afterwards, but they always start with this really nice calm bit, and they have like a nice almost solo-y bit going on, almost westerny.
Almost kind of like country sort of
like Gunslinger. Well, even though Gunslinger's a song, it just feels like Gunslinger, like as in like the western sort of.
And then the bass comes in, and it just sounds epic, like the build up for it. It sounds like if you were playing Borderlands, the game, you could be sort of listening around to this intro thing, and then it comes in with a slow drum beat. So it's a lot more chilled, and the vocals on this are Matt just really lets out, as I sang before vocals. You so beautifully. Oh god, it was so crap. I can't sing, but it's not my favourite, but it's an incredibly strong song on the album. Really, it's just the whole way through. It's just ups and downs, really. But it's not. There's not really so many heavy bits. It's just like almost like a kind of a bit ballady, really. But they throw in like the interesting thing with it sounding almost a bit country at the start, and other bits like that as well. They just make it sound like it's not a typical song. It's not just a straightforward ballad, a bit like Buried Alive. It's not just a straightforward kind of. Even
though that wasn't straightforward because it had heavy bits in it.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's also not straightforward. Oh, right. So they're more like almost kind of like ballady kind of thing, but. It's not a typical song.
Yeah, because it's got heavy bits in it. Heavy bits stop it being a ballad.
No, they don't. Not really.
I'm joking.
God damn it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's I use the term ballad like so loosely.
Yeah,
anything that doesn't have like death metal vocals in, I'm like, that sounds very ballady. Oh, mate, just like a pop song.
Mate, just like I don't know, like Green Day, fucking American Idiot. Oh yeah, that's ballad.
Mate, I remember when I first sort of started really getting into like heavy vocals again. Or like, again? For the first time. What would it be again? For the first time, and then sort of going back to songs like Slipknot, where they don't have pure screaming in all the time. You're a bit like, oh man, that's kind of mellow. But it's not. Like if you saw them live, it's not mellow.
And but also if you listen to like Katy Perry or that that sort of stuff, that's like all
it's all
soft.
All pop and soft. I don't know why I was
the only one that I would probably say is kind of heavy. There's Lady Gaga's Art Pop CD. There's a couple of songs on there where her singing isn't heavy, but some of the electronic music in there, some of the bass and that. It's got even some guitars in that. I think for an album, some of the parts in that are quite heavy. But compared to what we listen to, and a lot of people that listen to this sort of music do.
Well, my point is that if you have like a metal song, but if it doesn't have like hardcore screaming, and a lot of the time you're just a bit like, it sounds like a pop song.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of my point.
All right.
No, what point were you making? Because
I
I was a
don't
bit
know.
confused by what you were going on about.
Just songs that are heavy in general, and just like
Right.
comparing like the vocals. So
Totally contradicted each other with what we were saying then.
Yeah,
Right,
probably.
Okay. But yeah, so Tonight the World Dies. I think the bass stands out a lot more in this track than something. Not saying that the bass is unimportant throughout the whole thing, because
it's important.
Yeah.
Shit.
Johnny Christ is
Sick.
fucking sick bassist. He's so good.
But
They're
yeah,
all decent musicians. That's the thing. But I think on this track, I think it does stand out. And also on the last track, Save Me as well. It really
definitely.
sticks out on there as well. You know, with the whole dum 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 dum. But yeah. So that's all I have to say about that. Next one, fiction.
For fiction.
Do you want to get
You
punched?
stuttered.
You fucking suck dicks, mate. This is the weirdest song on the album by like a mile. It's the last one that Jimmy wrote. I think it was his most important. He was going to use it for like Pinkly Smooth, but then they decided to put it on this album, as far as I'm aware anyway. Weirdest lyrics. Again, it's just along the same sort of lines as Buried Alive. And you're doing what I've been doing and messing around with things on the table when you're kind of bored. So anyway, but it's got like this weird piano thing coming in, and it's just not a typical song at all.
It is, well, it's a typical Rev song. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's a typical Rev song, but it's not something that Avenged Sevenfold normally do. It's one of the odd ones that they kind of throw in there, really. And I think they wanted to include it because this is, see, like his last song, and he named it Death. It's such a weird coincidence to have all this. But, I mean, it's a very powerful song as well, especially when Jimmy's vocals come in and he starts doing like a duet with Matt. Oh, man, the first time you hear that,
that's
it
so
really
powerful.
Yeah.
Really is. And it's good, like, he is a really good singer. Matt and him are both good singers, but I think just having it on this track, because it's the last one he wrote, I suppose he's dead, it gives it that much more impact as well. Like, just
He's such a unique voice for such a unique style of song as well. I think he regarded it as the best song he'd ever kind of written. I don't know if I'd agree with that, but it's such an interesting song. I mean, you can
the
listen
singing
to
is just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt's singing is impeccable, but I find Jimmy's vocals in some situations more interesting.
I think they are more interesting in how he does
because
it.
Because he's so weird how he sounds.
Yeah.
He does sound weird.
But they only use it sparingly. Like, he's only sung like properly, as in like proper belted out, in a couple of tracks, which makes them special.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
what is it? The first one off the self-titled, fuck knows what it was called. But yeah, that was like, because he comes in and sings on that, and it's like, holy shit. That's the first time I think he sings on like Avenged Sevenfold
Critical
properly.
Claim.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually remembered something off the top of my head without having to think for like 20 minutes straight. That's quite an improvement.
Yeah, or without looking on computer.
Yeah.
But that doesn't require thinking really, so yeah. But yeah, no, so that fiction, solid song. Just a bit of a weird one as well. Again, because he was going to apparently...
I think this is the one that I was most looking forward to listening to on the album, just because I knew that...
it was something that he had written pretty much just himself, and that it was pretty much complete, I think, when he was writing it.
And the fact that, largely the fact that it had his vocals on it. And it's something I'm looking forward to. Although it was so different to how I thought it would be. But I'm kind of glad, it's just...
Well, it surprises you, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, this takes the album into a totally different direction, I suppose, really.
Yeah.
And then, I guess, finally it ends with...
Save Me.
Save Me. Oh god, this is such a good song. This again is incredibly different to the rest of the album because it's 10 minutes long.
It goes through a lot of
really
different stages, definitely. The soloing in it is probably the solos in this are probably my favourite on the whole album.
I think it takes a lot of things from the other parts of the album, like the build up with the bass and everything. It's very different in sounding to Tonight the World Dies, but it's that kind of build up really.
Yeah, I think the solos as well are they're very unique. The bass again stands out on this probably more than most of the other tracks apart from Tonight the World Dies, which is always quite nice because when you hear a bit of that as well, the bass, it just mixes things up, I suppose. And the singing is just ridiculous, and again the lyrical content is
it hits you.
Yeah,
it hits you.
Again, one of those ones that hits you. This whole album hits you, but there are a few songs like Save Me that just hit you a little bit harder.
Well, yeah, but I think if you have stuff like Nightmare, that's just a typical kind of Avenged Sevenfold lyric kind of theme, really. I mean, it's a good song, but it's not got the weight of like, it's about Jimmy or losing people, where some of the later songs really kind of do deal with that. And I think, towards the end, it really kind of, pushes that. But I think the thing is that there's so many parts of this song includes, like, it's got the main sound that things like Welcome to the Family and Natural Born Killer, have that typical kind of album sound where it's a little bit heavier, a lot more rockier kind of sounding. But then there's parts where he just kind of takes it back, like in the song, but for a lot more extended periods, really. And also the fact that they have, kind of breakdowns that are interesting, like we were saying with the last video with Guar and that. The
Not
breakdowns
having-
are interesting.
yeah.
They're not just typical,
Chug, chug, chug.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's nice because when you got a long song as well, the last thing you want is just a normal breakdown that's like dum, dum.
To be fair, I think with this one, it feels like they pulled everything out. Like this was, they've got special moments on all their songs, but this one just feels like they put them sort of probably the most amount of effort in, I suppose.
I guess so.
I suppose that maybe it feels like that because it's the longest one, and there's a lot of moments in it that are just like, oh shit, this is so good.
Yeah, considering it's so long, for an Avenged Sevenfold song at least anyway.
There's a lot of parts to it.
Yeah, it's like when they sit down and think, you kind of get the impression that they would have gone through it and think, right, how can we make this bit better? What makes this interesting? What little things can we add here? And even when there's pauses, or it slows down a bit, the guitars are like changing. It's like dim, diddle, diddle, or however the guitar bit goes, and it just goes straight into just overall, it's a really good way to finish.
It's such a good finish on the album, definitely.
And it just finishes quite abruptly. It's not like it's also kind of a long drawn out thing, I suppose. But, it doesn't finish with the guitars like fading away or anything. It's just like,
it's quite sudden.
Drums, guitars, and everything just finishes together, and you kind of sat there thinking like,
oh shit,
damn,
that's the end.
It's over. Like,
oh mate, and it's worse as well when you think about it because obviously it's all like a homage to the Rev,
yeah.
And then it just when it finishes, it's all sudden, and it just kind of feels like the end of an era, really.
Plus, they have all that kind of whispering thing in it as well.
Yeah.
Which is like something that the Rev seems to love to do, really. Have
Fucked
whispering in like heavy bits and stuff like that.
Mate, let's happen. It just whispering in here. Let's sneak some whispering in, guys. Let's whisper.
Yeah, it just screams of something that Jimmy would have written as well, because of the way that the drum beats work with the guitars, and then it changes up. So in the heavier bits, it goes for a bit in the sequence, and then changes it up. So it's the same sort of thing, but the way the beat works sounds totally different. And then it switches back again. You're like, oh man, it keeps you interested with things like that. I guess it's quite complex as far as like music goes.
But they're used to that sort of thing again from the whole
up.
of Cities of Evil. Was pretty much most of the songs were doing that. Save Me, it's kind of like a song from there. Completely different style. Obviously, it fits in with this. It's quite dark. But the whole. They when it comes to writing long songs, they've got it. They really know what they're doing. Yeah. They don't make them boring.
This
basically.
one, it really picks the pace back up again from having a couple of songs that really kind of chill it out again. But it carries on the weight and the power that some of them do.
You could
have.
just sing along to it so well.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of them things. It's got the pace and everything from some of the earlier songs, but in the album. But it doesn't then go into it's not like one of those songs that it's just about random being killed or whatever, or go into war or anything. It's not like almost like a random topic, to sing about. It's something that follows on with the importance of what they've been saying before. That's not necessarily directly towards the Rev's dying, but has something. What are you looking at me like that for?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
You just decided to start smiling.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I lost my train of thought.
Yes.
All right. Because I thought you were looking at me like you're a fucking idiot.
Well, I was sort of like not listening, and I was like, this makes no sense. Okay. But that was because I wasn't listening.
Okay. But yeah, so I mean, it's not necessarily directly, in the same way that So Far Away kind of directly seems to be. But it's still got, God damn it, stop looking like that. Oh, you know what? I give up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I was going to say.
No, carry on.
I don't know if I want to. But it's
I
still...
would like to hear the story.
Sounds like Doug from Up. I do not like the cone of shame.
I still haven't seen that movie.
Oh, God, you're an idiot. It's
I've
such a
seen
good
like
film.
the start of it. I've seen the first 10-15 minutes, like the really sad bit.
You need to watch Up. Like it's so good, and Doug is like the best character ever.
The cone of shame.
He's like, I love you. Like, it's just he's such a good dog.
Just dogs, man.
Dogs
in
oh,
movies.
Man, I love dogs.
Dad loves dogs.
Mm.
I love dog.
I love dog. It doesn't matter, but you gotta get. I'm sure you get what the gist of what I mean is.
It was probably just a bunch of rambling anyway, but
yeah, pretty much. Actually,
I think we should probably summarise the whole thing up. So it's kind of funny because we basically paint the picture. This is just kind of like a standard album, but it's really not.
No, I think it's got a typical sound to it. There's some of some of the songs, but you know, each one serves a purpose. Like it's not just filler. It's all all
Gold.
Good. Yeah, and it goes up and down throughout the whole album. It doesn't stay at one pace, and even when it goes sort of down again, it gets heavier. And
I think
all
what we
that.
were saying before as well, like we say like some of the stuff sounds standard, but standard for Avenged Sevenfold is quite high quality. Like it's always interesting, always most of the songs you can just sing to.
Very heartfelt.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
I mean, the thing is about Avenged Sevenfold is that they don't release an album every year, and I like that. I mean, a lot of bands do it.
Kalani try and do that.
Fair, it's fair play. If they want to do that, but you can tell that they spend a lot of time getting ideas together and actually working on the album and making stuff that they've actually, it's interesting. I think the new album, they've obviously stripped back the sound a lot more, with Hail to the King. So they haven't got as many moments like that. But in all their other previous work, it's like they've done the song, they've got it, and this is how they want it to go. And then it's like they go back to it again and say, right, what other bits can we add into it to actually make it far more interesting? And it seems like they've done it with, this album as well.
I think pretty much all of these, the albums like this, self-titled, Six of Evil, and Nightmare, they feel like a journey. When you listen,
and
to
this
them.
feels like the biggest journey of them all.
Yeah, it really
especially
does.
with the Rev passing away. It feels like
it does.
It's the ultimate homage, really, to him. But I think it's the most emotional journey. Maybe if he hadn't passed away, then it would have been different. But I still think it'd have been a very strong album.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But I think the whole that, I suppose it gave it more feeling to it. They put like effort in. Well, not that they wouldn't have done, but I think there was an effort in there that wouldn't have been there had it still been alive. Because there's the whole thing of like making it good, obviously as a homage, but also because they've obviously had a lot of grief, and I think that grief they turned it into
creativity.
Yeah, creative energy.
Yeah,
definitely though is a solid journey.
I feel like if you don't like some of the other stuff, like their really early stuff from the first maybe two albums, because it is quite like a punky hardcore kind of sound. Maybe not everyone's kind of thing, but or if you don't like Cities of Evil, I mean, this combines a lot of different kind of.
It is a mix between the two, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of singing in it, so I guess you kind of want to listen to a band with singing in it, not just heavy vocals all the time. But they make something interesting. It's kind of like that Guns N' Roses kind of sound, I suppose. They incorporate a lot into.
A little bit.
I think if you like old school like rock and stuff, stadium rock almost sounding, it's a really good album to listen to, and especially if you want songs that you can kind of sing along to. It's really great for that.
I think definitely if you got the chance to see them live, I'd do that because their live shows are mint. Like they're so good.
Yeah, they're big. They got lots of fire and everything. I mean, what's not to love? Their live shows are definitely the
and
embodiment
when they
of
did
what kind of
when
is
they
metal.
were at Download as well, and they had like that whole Hail to the Kid. They had the had this like they have their death bat, but they made him to like a king skeleton dude with a sword, and they made a big statue of him to bring on, and it's the most badass thing. It looks so cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. Like, how could you say they're not metal when they have a stage show like that? That's like the most metal thing. Well, not the most metal thing, but it's pretty fucking metal.
It's not as metal as having like goats' heads on a pike in front of like people.
Oh,
but that's a whole different thing.
But then
like,
Gorgoroth,
you're not really supposed to do that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
So,
but YOLO. Nah, they're very good stage presence. I mean, they just look powerful. I think the fact that Matt is like obviously a beast. Anyway, he has a lot of presence.
Tank.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. They are. But they all have a lot of charisma, especially off camera as well. They have a lot of charisma. You know.
But what was it? There's live at Long Beach as well. There is still like quite a bit of talk. They do a little bit of talking. I think. Where they're just having a bit of banter between each other, which is always quite nice, rather than just standing there and just singing, I suppose, which is always good. But you know, people just concentrate on the songs. But I like it when they just kind of have a bit of a chat, because you know, other than if they are on YouTube or do videos, that's cool. You get to see them then. But other than that, if they don't do that, you only get to see them on live shows. So if the only interaction they're doing is playing songs, I think. When bands do actually have a bit more interaction when they're talking to people, or if it even is a stadium, just talking to the whole crowd and just telling them, you know, information or just what they're playing, or just having a joke or a laugh, it always makes it a little bit more personal. And again, if you don't have the interaction on the web, then that's probably the best way to do it. And they're pretty good at that.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so
I think that concludes.
It concludes it. Yeah, solid album. I think you should check it out. Obviously, you know. But
one of them sing-along gems. Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's an album that should be exempt from all the kind of negative things that Avenged Sevenfold get just for being not metal, because this is just such a solid album.
Yeah.
There's so many ups and downs, you know.
Oh, and also, what was it? One more track. There's one more track. Well, there's two more tracks, but I
think it's called 6 a.m. or.
There's 6 a.m. and then there's the other thing they'd probably get a lot of shit for.
The Call of Duty song.
Yeah, Call of Duty.
Not Ready to Die.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That would probably be the heaviest song.
That's
on the album.
Oh man, that's such a good song.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, I mean, there's a lot of people probably haven't played it or don't want to play it because again, Call of Duty gets a bad rep, and I'm not a particular massive fan of it, but Nazi Zombies, so fun.
Yeah,
and
Nazi Zombies.
When because you can lock that song on one of their maps, and when you've got it playing, because it's Nazi Zombies, it's got its own theme, a piano theme that's quite dark, and it has that on this song halfway through. And you listen to that, and they get the whole feeling of Nazi Zombies, and they put it into a song. They make it really dark. It sounds so good.
Yeah, this one it actually does have a very standard breakdown, I suppose, in it.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's an enjoyable song, and you can forgive them for that. Like it still sounds really good for the way the song is, and they have like actually screaming again in it. And then I want to remember that if it's 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. or whatever what that song was.
I don't know.
I'm just trying to remember what it is, but
do you have it on there?
No, I don't know.
Yeah. Food porn.
Yeah, that is a thing. It's great.
Right. Okay.
No, it's not like actual porn, right?
Well, no, it's not going to be. I can just imagine because it's got a picture of a pineapple. I just imagine a peeled pineapple. For some reason.
It was 4 a.m.
Oh, right.
Yeah, well, okay, never mind.
It's 4
but yeah,
so
I mean, that's just a really fun song, like what I actually did. Because it's just like, it's quite an upbeat song for what it is, or the sounds it anyway. I actually put, because obviously on iTunes you can sort of alter some of the things, put things in and all that. Yeah, the track listing. So I put 4 a.m. right at the end, so that after Save Me, you got this like little uplifting song that's really short, and it's actually kind of nice and sweet to finish on.
Mate,
I really enjoyed it.
It's like listening to DBX, like Church Mouse in the Snow, and being like, that's really sad.
Quite a strong song.
And then, isn't it? Grand Boys comes on. You're like, oh yeah, that's good. Drinking
song. Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's songs that aren't actually on the album. But
and then I had like Not Ready to Die, sort of somewhere in the middle as well. I just think that those two songs work really well in the album as well. They fit in perfectly.
Even though they're recorded as part of the same period, weren't put in the album. But I think they definitely deserve to be in there. And definitely deserve a mention because they're really solid.
Good little fun songs.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that is the conclude. The conclude.
That is the conclude. Conclude. Making our own language here. Conclude. Sounds Swedish, doesn't it? Oh man. Anyway,
conclude.
Bye. I'm gonna do that because I just look like a Nazi salute. I didn't mean to do it like that. I put my hands down. I'm sorry. I didn't. Bye.